Zilvar is easily a highlight of Season 4 Part 2, and in my opinion, one of, if not the best written Ninjago antagonist of all time. Let's talk about it. So, Zilvar is someone we've had a lot of theories on. He could be Raz's clan's leader, he could be Raz's master, he could be Raz's brother, he could be anything, but he is actually someone misunderstood and deeply tragic. Zilvar, of course, belongs to the same wolf clan that Lord Raz belongs to, and he barely escaped untimely death by not being there for his tribe when the actual event of their passing happened. And I think that honestly makes him very tragic from the get go, because this is someone who's lost everything he ever built up to. He lost his tribe. He was one of the leaders, if not the leader of his tribe, and he lost them all because he was unable to help them in their time of need. So that's already something that is very tragic. That is similar to how Lord Raz's story begins, but where Zilvar's story differs is that instead of being somewhere else or being taken by Raz's master, he is actually put into a gladiator pit right after this incident occurs. Zilvar is said to have been stuck in the gladiator pit for years and years, possibly even decades, as he desperately tries to reach the 200 victories amount to finally get out of there. And I think that in and of itself shows how resilient Zilvar is, because this is someone who has lost his entire tribe. This is someone who's lost everyone he loved, his loved ones, his partners. Everyone is gone now, and yet he still stands and continues fighting for his own freedom. Alas, Jay does end up finding a way to get him out, and I think him even giving up his chance at absolute victory and the absolute chance of getting freedom was really nice, because it showed that despite whatever he's been through, Zilvar is still someone who's gonna put others' respect, the care for others ahead of him, and he is also a really kind person, all things considered. So I think that is nice, but you continue the story, and Zilvar, of course, goes to the Never Kingdoms, and once he goes to the Never Kingdoms is where something insane happens to his character. That is where the clear distinction between Zilvar and Lord Raz is made. Lord Raz ends up finding Zilvar, and he tells him that he has a master who's gonna find the way to bring back their tribe, and who Raz is actually called Xenox, I believe, by Zilvar, because that was his original name. And Zilvar, of course, does believe Xenox for a bit, but after a while, Zilvar realizes that whatever it is that Raz or Xenox is doing to get back his tribe isn't worth it. If his master is someone bad enough to create something like the weapon of destruction, it means that he doesn't respect the sources. If he doesn't respect the sources, he's a evil person. Zilvar will never support an evil person, and he decides to instead help the ninja out, which is something I think is so admirable about this character. And it is the simple fact that even after all of this, he does end up becoming the main antagonist of the season, which just stands out to me, because once he does end up getting to the ninjas, he does use the weapon of desolation to his own advantage once, because he needs to save Grimtak. Which, speaking of Grimtak, we don't know much about him, but Grimtak and Zilvar have apparently been together, been partners, been buddies since a very long time, from what we can tell. They were even trapped in the same gladiator pit together, and I think that is definitely very much an important detail related to him that's probably going to be explored in future seasons. But ahead of that as well, Zilvar is slowly corrupted by the weapon of desolation now, and he is corrupted by the very knowledge that Lord Raz gives him, that destroying the weapon could possibly mean that his tribe's people cannot come back. Now, they can come back, they are gonna come back, because Raz still has other ways to solve the problem, clearly by the end, but Zilvar doesn't know this. According to Zilvar, the weapon of desolation is his final chance at getting back his clan, his tribe, his people, his loved ones, and Zilvar actually manages to keep his own for a very long time. he has a really big sense of morality. He has a friendship with Jay. He has a friendship with the ninjas. He understands the importance of them, how important their leadership and the destruction of weapon of desolation is to the rest of the world. But nonetheless, he ends up giving in at the very end, or he doesn't give in, but the weapon ends up taking over him because he's been holding on to it for too long. And this is where, of course, the dark side of his past comes together. All of the tragedy that Zilvar has been through is personified by the weapon of desolation taking over him. This Zilvar, which is corrupted by the weapon of desolation, is still Zilvar. He is not corrupted by him. The weapon just brings out the worst parts of yourself, and that is exactly what happens here. Zilvar even talks about how the ninjas can stop him from getting his tribe back because this is the darkest part of him come to life now. And even after all of this, even after Jay tries to somewhat free him, Zilvar is freed by it. So we know Zilvar is still in there, but alas, of course, Lloyd has to perform the ultimate sacrifice to destroy the weapon of desolation. And what happens after this is fascinating because Zilvar takes all of the responsibility onto himself. He does not blame Raz or Xenox for this because he knows that Raz is still a kid in his eyes. Raz is still someone immature who doesn't understand why you don't do things or why some sacrifices are too much to be made. Zilvar takes the entire responsibility for his own actions, and I think that and the fact that he is still kept alive at the very end of the season is just something that makes him so much more different than many other antagonists. It's also the simple fact that Zilvar is one of the few antagonists we have in Ninjago. He isn't a villain, he is just an antagonist, someone who opposes the heroes by the end because of unforeseen circumstances, and I think that is fascinating as well. All things considered, though, someone who actually ends up boosting Zilvar up a lot is Jay. And speaking of Jay, I have a video right here talking about how Season 4 Part 2 actually made Jay the best ninja. So check this one out, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now. Love you guys.